Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Para Bellum Spotlight. I'm joined once again by Konstantinos.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different. A hint of further things afoot with the Dheukorro A Dead End. And it's an interesting little spotlight for a few reasons. One, it's another one of these insights into a race via another race. So the hints of what the Dweghom have been up to, and rites and rituals that may be specific to them, but are sort of, I wouldn't say they've been abandoned, but they're no longer practiced by the majority of clans. And at the same time, it gives a really nice window onto the Magi as they delve into the races that they meet and what's going on with them and how they view not only the Dweghom but also each other. So there's a lot of wheels within wheels, I suppose.
In a way, I think, as you said, that this spotlight's, I don't know if purpose, but I guess, yeah, purpose is to hint at things, multiple things, the truth is. And in that sense, the format of one faction talking about another is very interesting, both because it gives an idea of how the different factions interact with each other and perceive each other, but also in the sense that it gives us the liberty when we present those spotlights, that because if a Dweghom spoke about the Dheukorro, they would have a lot more to say. Things that we don't necessarily want to put out there yet. So approaching it from an outsider's perspective, but still an outsider that obviously has some indication about what's really going on during the Dheukorro, is what makes it interesting. And it puts the POV we get from the world very close to where our players and our community is standing, which is always nice. I think it helps people be more engaged with the world. And as for the other scale, the approach between the two factions, to the careful reader, this is obviously written between two persons of the Old Dominion in today's world, though, because they're talking about the living, infected, breathing, suffering descendants in the West, which also hints at, okay, they don't know what's going on, what's truly going on there. They have some indication that very possibly they blow out of proportion, or they only now begin to scratch the surface, but they want in. Whatever this is, whatever's going on down there, they want in. So the spotlight gives us a hint about stuff that we don't know about the Dweghom, but also a possible path down the line for the Old Dominion and the possible clash. Well, obvious clash that will eventually happen if indeed they decide to pursue that path.
Yeah, it's interesting because it paints the current Old Dominion as more than just mindless followers or devotees. That there's still a great deal of humanity in some of them, and the petty, bitter cynicism of humanity, where one person is annoyed that somebody else has found something out, and another person is less than forthcoming with all the knowledge they know, and the sort of the machinations within that part of it, where at one stage he explored something that they weren't allowed to explore, but now they've been given sort of carte blanche to go ahead and actually try and find out more. And there's these tantalizing, almost Da Vinci Code-like notes. There's something in this book. The vast majority is trite fluff or dry historical linguistic sort of dissection, and then there's just a little tiny nugget in there that points that there's something larger going on, and whether or not they'll be able to find it and develop it in the future.
I think that's a very, I think that the Old Dominion present that opportunity that you see, in effect, an empire that spans through ages and even beyond death. And of course, that's very hard to grasp or to compare to our reality. But it leaves a lot of room to play with concepts that we otherwise find familiar in our world, like exactly scholarly pursuits. And especially since we consider that the Old Dominion was, and still is in a way, an absolute theocracy.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, that today's, some of the Old Dominion members today are not the absolutely faithful, near mindless drones that at first might appear to the casual observer. This also, by the way, is obviously kind of a hint that the two people communicated through this letter, they are possibly higher ups. Well, most definitely higher ups, possibly even anointed, because those are the ones that have the most freedom. And as we've seen also through the living world, the anointed, much like it used to happen in the Old Dominion, they have, in the last few centuries, they have reached a point where they are very aware of their situation. Well, possibly not all of them, but a lot of them are very aware of the situation, in the sense not only of this is what has happened to me, but also about the mechanics behind it, the details of what has happened to them, or they're researching it to a certain degree. But I think from the comment that, we weren't allowed to look into things then because Haslia said so. And of course, we follow our Lord. But right now, in a way, there is no Haslia. We're all Haslia. So whatever we decide, we should go everywhere. We should spread this gift of the god, which is, of course, death and what's beyond. I think it creates an interesting dynamic between fanaticism that is obviously there, but also the old human spirit that refuses to be tied down at all times and wants to go another way. So that makes the anointed and in general the Old Dominion higher ups and more aware characters. It makes them very interesting in the sense that despite their situation, they are in their core very, very human in that sense.
Yeah, and I think it's reflected throughout the letter as well, because there's a certain amount of, I wouldn't say vitriol, but annoyance, perhaps, that he's the writer F, whoever F may be, has discerned that there has been work done on this, and there's clearly something more afoot. And he's now got to the point where it's almost like pointing it out. I know you wouldn't do this, but have you seen this? He knows something. What does he know? And is there any way to recover it? Kind of thing going on.
I think that's indicative. I think that's indicative of the character writing, which we don't reveal.
Yeah.
But even the fact that we don't reveal is kind of a hint, in the sense that he addresses someone called Elena, and we have no Elena known among the Old Dominion characters. The anointed have titles, and he signs as F, which obviously is a familiar way to sign.
Yeah.
So it indicates that through the centuries they have coexisted. I'm not going to say been allies, but coexisted. There has developed a certain familiarity between, obviously, or possibly not all, but definitely some of the higher ups of the Old Dominion on a more personal and more casual level than the Lord says this. But of course, they also obviously kind of keep it hidden from the rest of the anointed. This is a very private communication. So, look, I've got this. Do you want to do this together? It's like, it sounds like we could benefit from this.
It's and I mean that's just what you're getting from the Old Dominion side. At the same time, the little gem, the little nugget about the Dweghom that's inserted in there as well. It raises interesting questions, precisely what the descent is, and also why the majority of the Dweghom no longer practice it or are involved with it, and why it's been sort of reduced to a single caste or clan actually maintaining it, because then that opens up a whole other world of interest as to exactly what it is, what its significance is, and why it's been shunned, I suppose, for want of a better word.
I think it has been slowly decayed as an institution, with the exception of the Ardent that really embrace the Dheukorro, like it is part of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It is part of their approach to their relationship and their understanding of the breaking and of war's prison. So I'm glad you brought it up, because I started writing the spotlight, and I was like, okay, I want to talk about the Dheukorro, and I kind of do, but then it became a lot about the Old Dominion in the process, because I started enjoying writing the letter more than I enjoyed talking about the Dheukorro. But still, it is, as you say, it is, for me, it's like, because we always kind of categorize on our website the spotlights, I think this is under both the Dweghom and the Old Dominion.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it gives hints of insights into both without really revealing too much about either.
Yeah. It's very much the three blind men examining an elephant.
Yes.
We get a hint at what the Old Dominion hierarchy thinks like or acts like without really knowing exactly how they interact, and we get an idea about something going on with the Dweghom, but at the same time we're still not au fait with exactly what it is or its significance in the round, and why that particular thing is so significant for the Old Dominion, even why somebody felt the urge to just hint that he had the information about it as well, that there's a lot of blurring of the lines, and I like that. I like the slow reveal, the peeling of the onion, where people will over time get to learn, or maybe not. It's the thing.
I don't know. They will eventually.
You always keep them asking for more. But I love that. I love the exposition writ via the medium of the world it currently exists in as well, because then you've got this joint reveal between the readers and the writers of things like the letters in there as well. So we're learning together. But yeah, the really, really interesting spotlight, and it's up on the website now. I definitely suggest you go across and have a read of it and see what you can make of it. And if you can fathom it, please show you're working out red thread on a map, optional. But yeah, if you have any questions, please drop them below. We'll pass them across to the guys at Para Bellum. Konstantinos, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.